next. So anyway, back in here. So anyway, if you've been in the listen to the news lately, St. Louis had a major tornado, and yeah, it was literally right in the wealthiest and oldest part of St. Louis. Right, St. Louis is an old town to begin with, but anyway, yeah, it just flattened everything, and I did a bunch of posts on Instagram. What was it, Sunday? No, it would have been Saturday, because I run Forest Park almost every day, and that's my running route, and Forest Park is just destroyed. Like all the trees are gone, the houses along it are damaged pretty well. I took just a ton of video, a ton of pictures, and it was bad. I mean, there was a lot of people are really broken up about it, but again, it's the wealthiest. I mean, these are all multi-million dollar homes, all from the turn of the century or older. And as someone that's in the furniture game here in St. Louis, we cater to a lot of the designers. And truth is, there's a lot of really famous designers that live along this kind of picturesque grouping of homes along Forest Park. Forest Park is, I believe, it might be the largest city park in America, or at least it's one of them. It's absolutely massive. It's about 7 miles around, so it's very cool. It's very well maintained, and it's a beautiful place. There's just there's lakes and ponds and tons of trails you can run on. Of course, bike paths and pedestrian paths, and lots of birds and lots of things to see. It's a very cool place. There's a golf course and all kinds of things. Lots of history at Forest Park, and most of the buildings were fine. But the truth is, all the trees are gone. Like, they all just they wouldn't say that they're gone. They're all knocked over, right? Which means they're all going to be cut up, and everything's going to be chipped into mulch or whatever, and burnt up and all that kind of stuff. But the homes are all in bad shape. I mean, really rough to see. But that's how it goes. I mean, unfortunately, and like I said, as being a furniture maker here in St. Louis, I have a couple of buddies that also got hit by this tornado, and they're in bad shape. Their buildings are pretty messed up. And our building here, we're just right behind what's called the Del Mar Loop. Our building here is fine. We had a little bit of hail damage from some golf ball size hail that came in and hit some of our side windows. And so there's like a couple panes of glass I have to replace. But for the most part, the tornado didn't do much to our particular building here. Plus, our building is this old brick, cinder block bricked building, and it could withstand a bomb as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, we got Clara in here. Clara, good morning, or afternoon, morning, good evening. Doing a late cast today, dealing with we had the big tornado here in St. Louis, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and a lot of my buddies that are also in the furniture game here in St. Louis, and talk about them for a minute, and the designers. A lot of famous people live along this big, massive row of old houses that got just annihilated by this tornado. So I'll talk about that for a minute. And not a super long stream, but I thought to kind of let people know what's going on, what we're doing as a business, what some of my friends are dealing with as furniture makers as well. Okay, so who else we got here? KB Harana 855. Huh? Good to see you here. Anyway, my name's Eric Wilkin. I own the Splendid Car here in St. Louis, Missouri, and we're a small furniture company. We do about 500 pieces a year. And we make a lot of custom furniture. We paint a lot of furniture. We do a lot of production line furniture. And it's a good business. It's good middle class living. It's a small 7-figure business. And anyway, we just had this big tornado come through, and I'm going to talk about that. So anyway, there's the tornado. The path of the tornado literally started right here in University City, which is where my shop is at, and it just went northeast, and it chalked all the way through Forest Park, which is a very well-known park here in St. Louis, a very large park, and it just knocked over all the trees. And then there's a famous row of houses all along the park, and they all got hit too. And these are all, massive, $2 million to probably $10 million homes that are all 100 years old. And it's beautiful. It's very picturesque. If you've ever lived in Savannah, Savannah has a park called Forsyth Park, which has all the beautiful, picturesque southern homes all around it. Most towns have this kind of stuff. If it were New York, it'd be all the big apartment buildings around, Central. It's similar to that, and it's too bad. It really sucks. It's a beautiful park, and like I said, I run it almost every day. I usually do like 6 or 7 miles a day on my runs because I'm the modern runner. And anyway, it's it kind of sucks, but truth is it'll all get rebuilt, and it didn't damage the roads and the infrastructure as much, but it just literally knocked over all the trees, destroyed all the roofs, and there were a lot of people who had cars damaged and things like that. But they said on the news that it did $1 billion in damage, which seems kind of high in my opinion. But anyway, it's shit happens, and it's too bad. But that's just part of living in the Midwest. And we don't get a ton of tornadoes here in St. Louis. One of the largest tornadoes ever recorded was actually in Joplin, Missouri, which was a massive F5 tornado. And that was no good. But anyway, some of the things that really pissed me off about this whole situation is I got a buddy who has a pretty well-known furniture making company. He does a lot of custom stuff. He's had roof problems for years, and he hasn't been able to get his insurance company to do anything about the roof. He's tried to, make a claim on it to get it repaired. And anyway, this tornado came through there and just fucked it all up. I mean, he's fucked is what it boils down to. I mean, the roof was already in bad shape, and this tornado came through, and it's gone. Tons of water in the shop. I mean, open air. I mean, it's a really bad deal, and I feel really bad for the guy. And it sucks, and that's just one of the things about natural disasters. You can't do anything about them. You just have to kind of roll with it. And I've been through 2 major hurricanes when I lived in Savannah, Georgia, and I've been through 1 tornado in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So these things happen, and you just got to kind of roll with it. But as business owners, what we have to make sure we do is we have to make sure that we have adequate insurance. The best peace of mind you can have is insurance. And truth is that if you have a building like we do, or like my buddy, like you have to have insurance, and you have to have really good insurance that covers a lot of different kinds of things that can happen. So if you're in, the woodworking business, or you want to be in that business, you do need to think about that kind of stuff, depending on where you live, because truth is natural disasters happen. And like I said, when I lived in Savannah, they hadn't had a hurricane come into Savannah for 20 years. I was there for 5 years, and 4 or 5 years, and I had tornadoes 2 years in a row. So anyway, I mean, shit happens, and you just have to kind of roll with it, and it's too bad. But the area here is pretty decimated. We have a very kind of famous college called WashU. It's Washington University, and it got quite a bit of damage as well. Nothing too major. But just everyone's gonna be rebuilding. That's all we can do is just sit here and, if people need help, we just kind of try and help them out, and we send out the invitations to help out. It's like I got a crew of guys here, come help clean up, or in my buddy's case, he's got roof issues, he needs to move shit around. Like just help the guy. That's really all I can do. I mean, I can't do too much. But like I said, I've looked at my insurance policy just to make sure that I'm okay, and that's all we can do. I mean, you just gotta kind of just remember, like, shit does happen, and it's always when you least expect it. It's never, you can never really plan for it. But it's, scary times, and I think that everything's gonna be fine. Like I said, we got a lot of projects going on here. I don't know if we're gonna, it's kind of cold to say, but maybe there's a way we can take advantage of the situation a little bit. Maybe people are gonna need furniture. Heck, I don't know. Give a tornado 2025 coupon or something. I don't know. It sounds terrible. But when I live in, and here's a little bit of gallows humor, right? So when I lived in Savannah, we would go through these hurricanes, and me being from the Midwest, we always had bad weather, but we never really, I was never exposed to it too much. I mean, I had a couple cars get destroyed by hail. That's crazy. I'll tell you guys that story in a second. But when these natural disasters happen, whether it's a tornado or a hurricane or whatever, the people that have to deal with this stuff, we used to call the hurricanes hurrications, because like everyone says, oh, the hurricane destroyed. They always find the people that like just destroyed their life, and they're just heartbroken. And truth is that when these things happen, people just look like, oh, well, I guess that's what my insurance is for, and they rebuild, and then they get something better. And you take time off to go work for things, and usually your work's going to kind of work with you on things, or use some PTO. And again, I mean, honestly, they called them hurrications. It was very common. And this idea that all of these bad things that happen are just the worst, and you got to feel bad for everyone. Like, no, it's like whatever. You kind of roll with it, and it does suck, but you can find the good in any situation. And the truth is that you got insurance. Insurance is going to pay out. These things happen, and almost every insurance policy you're going to have here in, especially the Midwest, is going to have tornado insurance. Like or wind damage insurance. Like it's just normal here, So anyway, it's don't feel bad for anyone here. Don't feel bad for us. Like it's not a, it sucks and all that. But again, the homes that were hit, I'll tell you guys this: the homes that were hit, like I said, these are like $2 to $10 million homes, and there's just tons of them, right, all along Forest Park here. Truth is that all these people had crews there the next morning. Like they had crews there like immediately, taking out all the brush, cleaning up their yards, working on. I even saw roofers the next day working on roofs. Like, trust me, these guys are gonna get everything built. They're gonna be fine. And there's a lot of people that are gonna be in more precarious situations, like people that rent. There's a lot of apartment complexes that are around as well. I think a lot of those people those apartments are destroyed too. And I don't know what the hell you do with those people. You know, so if you're renting, I guess you got to go rent someplace else, or because I don't think most people have renter's insurance. I know it's a thing, but I don't know how many people actually have it. You know, so I hope those people have some kind of mechanism to help them to kind of, you know, have some place that they can go to. Because yeah, a lot of those apartments are destroyed, you know, and it's that sucks. But anyway, point is, I just want to update everyone, let them know, hey, we're fine. It's the shop, like I said, very minimal damage, if anything. I did some video of when it was coming in, and it was pretty brutal. I mean, the wind was just going in this really kind of circular motion. But the thing that was really odd about it is that the clouds were super low. I mean, it's almost like you jump up and touch them. They were so low, and you could see the swirling happening, you know. And then it wasn't, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes later, you know, the wind just increased in intensity like that. Like it just went from being kind of like a little windy to just crazy wind, like violent wind. Like we had to really work hard to slam this door that I have right here. It's a sliding door. It was a bitch to get that thing closed. But anyway, it came very quickly, and everything was green. Like that's another thing. Like when you see these tornadoes, green is kind of a common element to them, you know. So there's a little bit of green there. But yeah, bad deal, guys. But again, we're good. You know, like I said, I got a buddy who's not, you know, I'm going to have to kind of check on him, you know, a couple times this week and see if we can help him out. But for the most part, you know, things are okay. And I just hope everyone's able to, you know, get their businesses up and going and get their employees working again. And, you know, they're able to recover because, you know, when you're down, like Jesus, like I can think about what I'm going through right now. I have more work like on the custom furniture side than I've ever had in my 8 years of business here. Like it's absolutely flooded with custom work. And if I had water come through here, if I had, you know, to shut my operation down to rebuild my building, like fuck, man, I'd literally have to go look for other buildings, right? I'd go find other places to rent, moving equipment, you know, moving whatever material wasn't strung out all over the place. Like it was just, man, what a nightmare to call all my customers and, you know, tell them that I don't have an ETA for their projects, you know, and it's just like, geez Louise. So yeah, I'm glad we were okay, and I just thank my lucky stars that I don't have to deal with that shit, and I feel bad for people that do, but things get rebuilt. Forest Park is a very well funded park. There's a lot of it's kind of like an icon to the area, you know, so they'll be fine. There's plenty of money for that place. They'll rebuild everything that was down, and like I said, the golf course is fine. All the historic buildings are fine. It's just a lot of down trees. I mean, hundreds of down trees. You know, I did a big 7-mile loop, and they're down everywhere, you know. So anyway, it'll be okay. But get on the news, check it out. It was pretty cool. I mean, just to see it when it was coming in, it was pretty. I mean, I thought it was cool, but but anyway, everyone have a great day, and we'll do this again tomorrow. I'll try and get back on at 4 o'clock. I was delayed today. I had too much stuff going on. It's freaking busy Monday, but we'll have a new topic for tomorrow, and there's all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. So everyone have a great